right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm so excited you all have joined me today. Of course, you all are here because you want to learn a little bit more about AmaWaterways. Potentially, you're new to river cruising. Maybe you've tried some other brands, but today I'm excited to share a little bit more about AmaWaterways and kind of what to expect if you choose to try a river cruise with them. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to get started. Here we are. Perfect. So again, welcome everyone. For everyone who's here today, I know some of you are existing clients, maybe prospective clients, maybe you're guests of other agents at our agency. So whatever brought you here today, I'm so glad you decided to spend just a little bit of time with me tonight as we talk about AmaWaterways. So tonight I am representing our agency, which is Never Grew Up Vacations. And of course, my name is Amy Franks. You'll learn a little bit more about me today, and of course, AmaWaterways and our recent experience on our river cruise. So a little bit more about me, if you do not know any of this. So I've been an agent with Never Grew Up Vacations for a little over 6 years. I did start it just as a hobby, and it has evolved into just so much more. I'm very busy actually with bookings. I loved to travel since I was young and with my family, and that has increased. Here's my husband who would tell you how much we travel and enjoy traveling. So that passion really stemmed into what it is today. Many people are surprised to know that I do work a full-time job in addition to being a travel agent. I don't sleep all the time, but I make time for all the things and I enjoy planning travel. So that's kind of like the fun aspect of what I do. And then I actually work in real estate management. So that's my day job. And then I get to have a little fun with travel. I'm thrilled to share that I have been recognized a couple years now as a top 5 agent, only being 6 years in. I think that speaks to the dedication I have for my clients and the work that I put in. And we have an agency of a couple hundred agents, so to be able to be top 5 is pretty remarkable. And I hope to continue that trend for many, many years to come. And of course, I don't just book river cruises, I book things all around the world. I do live here in Orlando, Florida, so naturally I book plenty of theme parks and Disney, but then I also book a ton of Europe, ton of all-inclusives, cruises. If you can travel to it, I can plan it, and that goes for any destination or vendor. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just to see if anybody else has joined us tonight so I can let them in. So just 1 second. Okay, no one else has joined. That's great. And just so everyone knows, I am recording tonight. I am going to throw this up on YouTube. So if you missed something or want to rewatch it, I will be sharing it after the fact. Perfect. So now you know a little bit more about me. So let's now talk about river cruising. So I guess show of hands on here. Is there anybody on here who's been on a river cruise? Okay, great. So we're probably a split group, and that's commonly what I hear. This was actually our first river cruise experience. So I'm really excited to tell you about our experience. I know for a fact this is definitely not our last. And all the photos in this presentation are ones that I just took. I just got back like 3.5 weeks ago from our river cruise. We did cruise the Danube River and it was beautiful. So all of these photos are my own. I took them, I lived them, and it was a really great experience. And feel free to use the chat if you are thinking of anything. I do have some Q&A written down, so feel free to, pop in the chat. Oops, I jumped ahead here. Feel free to drop in the chat and I will continue to monitor that. So the first thing I want to talk about, a lot of questions I get are, what are the rooms like? People think river cruises, they're small ships. They're different ships, okay? So in the river cruising world, we call them long ships. They are not like your traditional Royal Caribbean, huge, thousands of people cruise ships. These are long ships that are essentially long to go down the river, and they do look a little funky, I'll be honest with you. But the accommodations are just as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than your standard cruise line. So here you'll see this was a couple photos from our stateroom. For those of you who may be considering AMA, we had a category A, B, which is a deluxe veranda plus French balcony. This is a really notable thing when you're looking at a river cruise. You'll hear a lot about French balconies. If you look at the center photo where the two chairs are, that is where the French balcony is located. French balcony is essentially just doors that open and close, and you're able to peek your head out, but you can't step onto the balcony. Versus a veranda, which you'll see our little, again, the center photo with the chairs on the outside. It is a step out balcony that you can go onto, that you can actually sit on. That is the difference between a French balcony and a veranda. In this case, with this room, it had both. You can see here, our beds were pushed together for a queen. You can split those and make them two twins. We did see a couple of rooms that did hold three. If you are looking to do a triple occupancy, what they actually do is they remove the two sitting chairs and table that you see in the center photo, and they bring a fold-away bed, but it looks nicer than a fold-away bed. It essentially is a single sleeper. So you could fit 3 people in this room. In our case, it was just 2. The bathroom, very spacious compared to a normal cruise ship. It had a lot more room than a traditional cruise ship. So we found everything very comfortable, lots of storage. When we talk about what's on board, obviously they're smaller ships. So, you're not going to have 12 bars to hop to. You're not going to have 3 restaurants to go to, although you may have a couple depending on the size of your ship. But these ships are a little bit different. It's a little bit different of a layout, but you can still be comfortable and still be active. The first photo on my left-hand side is me running on the upper deck. I like this photo because you can see how long the ship is. And this is really only about half the photo. Corey was standing about halfway. So it just shows you how long the long ship truly stretches. And that actually the black area is a running path, walking path, so you can still stay active if you're on an AmaWaterways cruise ship. The center photo is a great pool. It was heated, so it felt very much like a hot tub. And we very much enjoyed sailing through the river and watching castles and churches and amazing scenery go by. So that's a really cool amenity that you'll find on AmaWaterways. Not every river cruise ship has a pool option. And then the last photo there on your right-hand side is the library area. This connects to the lounge, which I'll show you the lounge here in just a minute, but a little area to read. AmaWaterways provides postcards. So mom, my family, they're going to get postcards here hopefully in a couple of weeks, but you can send those free of charge. You just drop them off and they get shipped off from all your cool destinations. And then it was pretty fun here on our sailing. There was like a community puzzle and the group finished the puzzle in a week. And it was actually a pretty hard puzzle. So that was really fun that people just kind of popped in and out to finish the puzzle. Great. So on the left-hand side, you will see again our room, but in this photo, I wanted to demonstrate opening up both the French balcony and the traditional veranda. You have a better view of both. We were on the second floor. So on a river cruise ship, there's really only 3 or 4 floors. In the case of this AMA ship that we were on, there were only 3 levels that had staterooms, the technically fourth level being the sun deck, walking deck. We were like 2 feet from the river. Like when I say we opened up our balcony and the river was right there, like we were actually like right in the river. So when you think about where your balcony is, or your room, second floor is great. Third floor is a little bit higher. The first floor does accommodate if you choose to want to go with the lesser category. There are some rooms that have windows, but the windows are up at the top of your wall. So it's not really a window you can see out of. It's more of a window that brings natural light in. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see this is a brief shot of the lounge. The lounge becomes basically your second home. It's like your living room almost. This is where every night there will be different entertainment. Here is where the bar is. Here is where sip and sail will be. And I'll talk about that here briefly. But this is really the hub of your entertainment. It becomes partially a restaurant later on in the lunchtime period. So it's really a versatile space that is utilized throughout the cruise for a variety of things. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick just so I can check my little chat here, see if there's any questions. Perfect. We're doing great. Perfect. Alrighty. Moving on to talk about dining, probably one of the most important components of any vacation really is eating. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that's a photo of us in the main dining room. And then on the right-hand side is us at the chef's table. In the case of this AmaWaterways cruise, there were 2 restaurants on board. The first one being the main dining room. This is where breakfast, lunch, and dinner is served every day. This is where you take most of your meals. And then the chef's table is your specialty dining. Every river cruise is a little bit different, but AmaWaterways, they like the chef's table concept. You get to go, every guest gets to go once during their sailing. We actually got invited back a second time, but we enjoyed it enough the first time that we didn't need to go back. But the chef's table is a small tasting menu. So you walk in, you don't really know what you're getting. The chef's right there in the prep kitchen cooking it up for you, and it's truly a dining experience. They pair each of your courses with wine, and they're making things fresh for you, and they're talking you through an experiential culinary journey. I think that day we ended up with like 9 courses, but they were small courses. So it was really a journey through the courses, and it was really a memorable experience. Now, when you're talking about, main dining room, it is nothing at all like your traditional cruise lines. It is not, you only have 6 options to choose from. They're batch cooking things. It is not at all like this. Remember, there's only potentially 150 people on board. So everything that they do with AmaWaterways is made from scratch, and it is local cuisine. So it was really cool because as we were hopping through Germany, we were having sausages and Bavarian dishes that were traditional to the culture. When we started in Budapest, we ate Hungarian specialties and goulash. Each stop has a different menu that the ship and the crew customizes for wherever you're traveling. So it's really a cool experience to be able to have that local feel brought on board in a beautiful setting where you can really enjoy your time. Something also really notable that we thoroughly enjoyed was they source all of the wines from whatever port you're in. So we were drinking beautiful Austrian wines from the Wachau Valley where we had just toured, and we were enjoying that. And then we'd go to the next stop, and then we were drinking German wines. You get the chance to experience the wines from the regions that you're in. So it's really an immersive experience, and it's really something to be savored and enjoyed. A lot of people ask me about alcohol, and I'll talk about alcohol as we progress through the presentation. At your lunch, breakfast, and dinner, really, you are welcome to some alcohol, complimentary. They're very gracious with the flowing of wine. You can easily load up 2, 3. If you really want to ask for a 4th, you can, load up on your 4th glass of wine, but they're very gracious about that. You will commonly see champagne be flowing around at breakfast, all free of cost. Lots of beers, of course, this naturally being in Germany, but alcohol is included during your meal period. I do have a question up in the chat. So let me see what the question is. Oh, good question. How many passengers on the ship? So a lot of people that ask me that. So this ship that we were on, the AmaVerde, was about 160 people. And the biggest ship that Ama has today is about 200. So that is max. That's the Ama Magna. It's a bigger ship, but it's not like huge compared to standard cruise line numbers. The smallest ship they have is closer to 60 people, and that is down in Colombia. That is a new sailing. It's very small ship, very intimate. So it can be as few as 60, as many as 200. If you're doing the European river cruises, I would anticipate about 150, 180 max. Great. So you are welcome each night to dine with friends if you want. If you want to sit by yourself, you are welcome to. Most nights we enjoy it ourselves, so we normally just grab a little two-top and sit and talk about the day. But in this case, we made some friends. It's nice to, pick and choose when you want to dine with people and when you don't. But being on a river cruise with only 160 people, it really creates a conducive environment to make friends if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. We did notice a lot of solo travelers or, older couples that, just traveled as groups. We actually met, you don't always think of these things, but a really nice widows group, unfortunately, widows. But they found community amongst each other, and now they're this little traveling pack and they go everywhere together. So it's really a nice mix of people on board, people who want to mingle, people who want to be by themselves. So it's really your choice. On the right-hand side, we did have the pleasure of being invited to the captain's table. I still don't know how we did this. It was a special experience. It just happens one night out of the cruise. There was only a couple of us that were invited, but I think they know we like to talk. So, I think maybe just because we're charismatic a little bit, we got invited, and it was a wonderful experience dining with the captain and some of the crew. Great. So a lot of people ask me what's included on a river cruise. People ask me if it's all inclusive. Not quite all inclusive, but pretty darn close. So all your meals on board are included: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. They have tea service, unlimited coffee. All of that's included. Your entertainment on board is completely included. In the case of AmaWaterways, it is very wellness focused. So we actually had a wellness director on board, which was really cool. He was constantly doing walking classes, yoga on the top deck, Pilates, if that's your thing. So it was really cool. If you want that experience, that is available to you at no cost. Every night they do bring on different entertainers on board. They actually, because we either docked overnight or had longer dockings, they brought in local talent. So the one night we had a jazz band from Bratislava, Slovakia, and they were real snappy. And then one night we had these two girls who came and did a little Sound of Music bit because we had been in Salzburg that day. So it was really cool that you get to have a piece of the culture brought on board. And then, of course, they get kicked off before we sail away. But each night, great entertainment, lots to do. I will say, because people always question about this too, is it lively? Are people in bed by 8 o'clock? A little bit, yes, but not completely. You do have the crowd who, they eat dinner and then they mingle and then they go to bed. Our cruise was actually very, very lively. I have a couple funny videos on TikTok, and I'll share all my social medias later. But by like 10 o'clock, our little lounge turned into a little nightclub, and it was a really great memory. And we had a really good time dancing the night away on the Danube. As I had mentioned, beer and wine is included during your meals. And then I briefly mentioned about a sip and sail. That is a happy hour special every single night. It usually happens between the hours of like 5 and 6. It's usually an hour long. They will provide you as much alcohol as you want, specialty cocktails, obviously a certain list of beverages you can select, and then you can flow right into dinner and keep your buzz going. So lots of opportunity to enjoy some beverages while on board. And then, of course, you can choose to purchase alcohol on your own. The bar is open. I will say, because a lot of people ask this as well, is there an alcohol package? No, you cannot purchase an alcohol package on Alma, but I will say the drinks are very discounted. It's essentially a subsidized cost. For example, my husband was drinking like Four Roses bourbon. Double pour is like $5, $6, $7. Compared to American bar standards, very cheap. Let me put it this way: we spent a week drinking, we probably dropped $100. So, in comparison, did we feel like we missed an alcohol package? Not at all. Plenty of options to enjoy yourself. Obviously, what's included is your accommodations. That is included as part of your package. Your excursions, I'm going to talk about excursions here in just a minute. There are complimentary bike rentals as well. You can do a bike tour, which I'll talk about through the excursions, but you can also just rent the bikes and just, go around on your own. That's an option to you as well. Something else I wanted to mention about alcohol, because I feel like that's a big topic in Europe sometimes. You can actually buy alcohol off the ship at a liquor store, and you can take it on board. River cruises, they do not check bags like they do on the mega ships, in the Caribbean. So oftentimes every couple of nights, we would go to a liquor store, grab a bottle of local wine, and we'd bring it back on board. So it's a great way as well. If you're missing that drinks package, you can bring beverages on board. All right, let me just check the chat real quick. Alrighty. Oh, and I do want to point out this photo on the right-hand side. I did take that, and you can see a little shooting star falling from the sky at nighttime on our balcony. There are blankets in your room, and we did use those. We wrapped up and bundled up, and we sat on our veranda, and we watched the world go by. And it's beautiful because there's little to no light pollution near the Danube. It gets very dark at night. I've never seen so many stars. So it's a pretty cool photo. I snapped this at like 3 a.m. I was like, oh my gosh. And there's that photo. Great. So let's talk a little bit about the sailing that we went on. Of course, this is just one example of a river cruise, but I hope through going through some of this, I hope it'll kind of showcase what you can expect on an AmaWaterways cruise, kind of what each stop is like and what is offered. So the sailing that we did was Budapest to Villeshofen. We flew in and out of Munich. Villeshofen is really, really close to Munich. It's about 90 minutes away, so very easily accessible. Munich was just accessible for us. And then from Munich to Budapest, we did take the train. It's about a 7-hour train ride, but it's very scenic and beautiful. Also with AmaWaterways, although we did not do an extension, they do offer traditionally pre and post extensions. So I know a lot of the folks on our cruise, they actually did a Prague post cruise. Unfortunately, I had to go back to work, so we did not make it to Prague this time, but there was an option to add that on as part of your cruise package, and you're whisked away with the cruise director in tow. That I thought was very interesting and unique to AMA was the cruise director stayed with the extension group, and she was their point of contact throughout the entire experience from stepping on board to going home at night. So I thought that was a really cool, unique experience. Also on our ship, the ship had actually come from the lower half of the Danube. I can't remember exactly where it started, but it sailed the lower half, like Bucharest, like that area. And it actually came up to meet us. Some people got on, some people got off, some people stayed for the full 2 weeks, and then we kept sailing. So that's an option too, is you could do longer than 7 days. I'd say 7 days is about the standard. You really can't find anything less than that. So expect 7, but you could go as longer as 14, 21 days if you want to do, longer on each end. Great. So I'm not going to go through, the description of each tour because that's just a little mundane. But what I want to showcase is the amount of options you have when choosing AmaWaterways for excursions. Everything I'm about to show you is included. We paid for nothing extra as it relates to excursions. So here you'll see, each stop, we had the great opportunity to do an overnight stop for Budapest. So we boarded on a Monday and we never sailed until Tuesday night. What was great about that? We wanted to go bar hopping. So we got off the ship. You're docked right in downtown. You have the ability to come on and off, especially when you're docked overnight. We went bar hopping and then we came back to the ship and we slept. It was a great opportunity because you do what you want. You're still in, city center, and you're able to still get that culture experience that, big cruise lines don't always offer. During our full day in Budapest, we had double tours. It was a very busy day. In the morning, as you can see here, you were able to choose a city tour or a hike. If you are a hiker, please, by all means, we are not hikers. So we did the walking tour. And then in the afternoon, you also have a Pesh tour. If you didn't know, it's broken up into two sides. The city is divided by the river. But all of these tours were included, and we still had a chance to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner on that day. So it was great, jam-packed day. In Bratislava, you can see 3 different tours here. You choose your pace. You choose what you want. If you like to eat, Taste of Slovakia is for you. If you want to hike, you can hike. With the walking tour, something that was important for us, most walking tours, they do offer gentle, regular, and active. By that, you can choose your pace. Obviously, the gentle, you're not going to walk any hills or steps. The active, you're going to walk a little bit faster, maybe go up some hills. But what that does is you're not stuck in a group that snail pace, you're bored. You have the option to choose the pace that is the best for you. Great. So we then stopped in Vienna. You can see here lots of great options for Vienna. We had a very long stop in Vienna. We were in Vienna a very long time, like 20 hours. So it was nice because we did a tour in the morning and then we went back for lunch and then we had all this free time. We could have eaten dinner off. It was rainy that day, so we chose not to, but we had plenty of time to go on and off as we wished. In Vienna, they did offer a paid option if you wanted to go see a concert. We did not. We wanted to hang out and relax a little bit, but some of our fellow guests did do that, and that was something that they chose to pay extra for. That was the only extra paid excursion that anybody had taken, and that was the only one that was offered. So again, just wanting to showcase here how many options you have as it relates to excursions. Great. And then next up, we did do, really enjoyed the wine tasting here in Durstein. It is the most beautiful, picturesque valley. If you can imagine, vineyards and hills and castles, that is what this looks like. It is just the most beautiful image, and we really enjoyed this. But here again, you can pick what you want. If you want to go biking, go biking. If you want to drink wine like we did, go drink wine. Great. So part of our day, this is actually the same day that we did Durstein. We did some scenic cruising. As part of your river cruise, obviously you're going to be cruising down the river. Hence the title of this little webinar today. It's beautiful. It's very scenic as you're sailing. You will see so much, so many sites go by. You'll see local towns go by. You'll see old castles go by. They bake in some time where you can just enjoy on board and watch the world go by, and it's pretty amazing. Next up in Grein, Austria, we did do a castle tour. In Europe, we toured a lot of castles and we toured a lot of churches, and we also got to do a lot of catacombs. If anybody loves catacombs, we do. I know it's a little creepy to some people, but we really enjoyed that. We saw a lot of crypts and catacombs and a couple skulls. Great. Next up, we did stop in Linz, Austria, which that is the closest port to Salzburg. Of course, I think everyone knows the Sound of Music, the very iconic spots where Julie Andrews and the Von Trapp kids did their little bits, and we got to see all of them. So it was really, that's a bucket list for me. It was the most beautiful day in Salzburg, completely included. This tour was a little bit long because Salzburg is about 90 minutes, 2 hours from Linz. So you are out, we were out almost 7 hours between driving there, being there for a bit of time and driving back. But again, it's included. You're not paying extra for this excursion. If anybody wanted to go to Czech Republic, the second tour, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, I'm still working on my pronunciations, that was an option where you can go to the Czech Republic. That was the day tour there. But you can also tour Linz here. If you've been to Salzburg before, there's options to do other things. Next up, we did Passau, Germany. It is the city of 3 rivers, so a couple different options here, but again, beautiful scenery throughout. Looks like I got a little chat. Yeah, perfect. Just answering the chat. Thank you. All right. And last but not least, we did stop in Wilshofen, Germany, and as part of AmaWaterways, they have an exclusive Oktoberfest experience. It is included in your sailing, and the tent where you enjoy Oktoberfest is just a couple steps from your ship. So it was a really fun way to end out our cruise. We got to walk off to polka music, and then we got to polka a little bit and obviously drink some beer and pretzels, but it was a great way to end our trip in Germany. Where does AmaWaterways sail? Obviously, you can see here I've listed some of the stops that, are very common with river cruising. This is where Ama sails. Europe is easily the biggest, destination as it relates to river cruising. It's very river cruising friendly. When you think about choosing a river cruise, maybe over a big ship, remember your ports are going to be smaller. You're going to be more in the city center. If you're cruising a big ship, you're docked maybe an hour, hour and a half away from city center, and you are that far away. So it's really a different immersive experience as it relates to river cruising because you're right there, you're on and off. It's really a great way to learn the destination you're in. I do want to say, on here, very unique itineraries as it relates to Egypt and Africa. Definitely on our bucket list to sail down the Nile. So really great, cool experiences. If you're interested in wildlife, those are definitely bucket list trips for a lot of people. And then why book with me? So hopefully a lot of you on this call today know about a travel agent, but if not, that's okay. Travel agents like myself are free to use. If you go to the AmaWaterways website and you book your trip, you're going to pay the exact same price as if booking with me, but you're not going to get assistance from someone like me. When you book with me, you're getting the from start to finish help if things go awry, which you know how the world is nowadays, flights cancel, you get stuck, weather happens. I'm that support. If you get in a pickle, I'm there to help you. Obviously, I can't fix the weather and some issues, but I can help you through and get you to where you need to go. So I'm creating that personalized experience. Obviously, I have the firsthand experience from Alma on the Danube, but I've also been to other parts of Europe too. So it's being able to tell you what to do, what you should do, how to guide you through that. If you do book with me, I do offer booking incentives, something you won't get from booking direct. So be sure to stay in touch with me and let me know how I can help you. But just remember, you're already paying for a travel agent when you're booking with any vendor. So why not use a travel agent and get the help and less stress? Great. And this is a great photo from our sail away in Budapest. It's beautiful at nighttime. If you've never been to Budapest, it is stunning at nighttime. You think it's beautiful in the day, but it's another world at night. So let me see, let me look at my list of questions first, because I know some people submitted questions. So we talked about capacity. So that was one that was answered. Somebody had asked, how far out can you book or should you book? Currently, AmaWaterways is on sale until end of 2027. So December 2027 is the latest you can book as of today. Keep in mind, these ships are smaller. So with that being said, I do not really recommend last minute because you're going to be stuck with whatever rooms are left. I would recommend with their levels of inventory at minimum a year out. If you're looking for either an accessible room, a suite, you need to book much further out than that. So I'd say the sooner you can get dates nailed in, the better inventory, the better pricing you're going to get. One of the questions I got was about daily schedule. There is a daily schedule, but it's completely loose and up to you. Let's say on the day I gave the example of Budapest, let's say you wanted to do the morning tour, but you didn't want to do the afternoon tour. Perfect. Skip it. Nobody's doing a head count. You can do what you want. And we did notice some people who had maybe been to the city before chose to just relax the afternoon or chose to walk around the markets. It's really a loose schedule and you really make it what you want. I will say, if you like to sleep in, this is a little bit of a go, go, go type of trip. I'll be honest, we probably slept the least we've ever slept in any Europe trip, but it was the most fun. We were up at 7, we were on a tour by 9, we were dancing in the lounge until 10:30, 11, and then we were watching the stars. Like, it's just, there's so much to do and so much to see. So, you do what you want, you make your own schedule. Let's see. Answered everything else. A lot of people ask me too, the difference between cruise lines. A lot of people ask about Viking versus Alma. They're all a little bit different, I would say. For us, obviously I'm a little bit younger in age. Alma was great because they, offered different activity ranges. So that was a huge benefit for us. Viking is great. Viking, just they structure the cruises a little bit different. So, when you're considering the two, make sure you work with an agent who understands both. Or, the other ones, there's Avalon, there's Talk, there's a lot of them out there, and they can get a little confusing as you're relating, what's included on each. So I would say it's up to what your preferences are, what you're looking for, and that's your answer on which one to choose. Let's see, I got a chat. Oh, good question, Greg. What are the on-ship experiences, versus a Disney boat? Yes. So, it's small ship, right? So, you're not getting a Broadway show at night. You're getting a musician, or you're getting, a violinist, or you're getting a pianist, or somebody singing. So you're not going to get a Broadway show. But you are going to get a way more personalized experience. You're going to get to know the crew. You're going to get to know the staff because it's really only a smaller amount of staff. Obviously, there's more included. I think everyone here on this call probably knows, when you go on Norwegian Royal, you may be paying, let's say, $6,000 for the cruise, but then you start to get in excursions, and excursions are not cheap. You can easily drop, $300-400 in one port. So by the time you factor in excursions, you're dropping another $2,000-3,000 easy on excursions, especially if you're in Europe and you want to see a lot. So, when you're comparing big ship to Alma, it may be a little bit higher of a price for the cruise from the get-go, but you have to consider what's included and kind of the end price if you're going to, add on excursions at each port at a big ship. So I like to think about that too when I'm comparing. Thank you, Greg. That was very nice. Yes, I hope planned a wonderful Alaska trip. Let's see if there's any other questions, feel free to drop them. If not, we're nearing the end of our call. Feel free, this is my link tree. You can scan the little QR code with your cell phone. I also have my information listed up in that corner, my email. Obviously, I think everyone has my email since the invite came from there, but feel free to get in touch with me. Any questions, you're looking to book something, you let me know. So let me see if there's any more questions here. Hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you learned a little bit today, something you didn't know. So feel free to drop any final chats in the message. Otherwise, we will call it a night. And I will put this up on YouTube. So if you miss something or you want to rewatch it, I will be sharing that out later on. See? Yes. Can you share the cost of a cruise? Yes. So the cost of Alma depends upon what room category you choose. Obviously, if you choose one with just a window, it's going to be way different than the level up, which would be like a French balcony, versus the level up, which would be the balcony and the veranda or a suite. It just depends on the sailing. I've seen, some Alma cruises go for 6,000 a person if you're in a veranda and French balcony. I've seen some go for less if you're just in a window. So it really is variable based upon sailing, time of year, and your room type. I will also say too, and I didn't touch upon this, Christmas markets. A lot of people really like the Christmas time season. It's a really unique time to go. And that's a very popular sailing too, is the Christmas markets. Bring an extra bag though to go shopping, I'm sure. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Of course, feel free to reach out with any other questions. I hope you learned a little bit today. I hope you enjoyed your time with me today. I will be picking a winner from today's session. I'll be reaching out here after to pick a winner. I have a travel prize pack for somebody lucky on the call today. So I'll reach out after the fact with the winner and I'll get it to you. So thanks so much for joining and have a great night.